In addition to Pharaoh's daughter, King Solomon loved many foreign women, including Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. These came from the nations that the Lord had commanded Israel about. Don't intermarry with them. They will definitely turn your heart toward their gods. Solomon clung to these women in love. He had 700 royal wives and 300 secondary wives. They turned his heart. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods. He wasn't committed to the Lord his God with all his heart as was his father David. Solomon followed Astarte, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the detestable god of the Ammonites. Solomon did what was evil in the Lord's eyes and wasn't completely devoted to the Lord like his father David. On the hill east of Jerusalem, Solomon built a shrine to Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and to Moloch, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He did the same for all his foreign wives, who burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. The Lord grew angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from being with the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. The Lord had commanded Solomon about this very thing, that he shouldn't follow other gods. But Solomon didn't do what the Lord commanded. The Lord said to Solomon, "Because you have done all this instead of keeping my covenant and my laws that I commanded you, I will most certainly tear the kingdom from you and give it to your servant. Even so, on account of your father David, I won't do it during your lifetime. I will tear the kingdom out of your son's hand. Moreover, I won't tear away the entire kingdom. I will give one tribe to your son on account of my servant David and on account of Jerusalem which I've chosen." So the Lord raised up an opponent for Solomon, Hadad, the Edomite from the royal line of Edom. When David was fighting against Edom, Joab the general had gone up to bury the Israelites dead, and he had killed every male in Edom. Joab and all the Israelites stayed there 6 months until he had finished off every male in Edom. While still a youth, Hadad escaped to Egypt along with his father's Edomite officials. They set out from Midian and went to Paran. They took men with them from Paran and came to Egypt and to Pharaoh its king. Pharaoh assigned a home, food, and land. Pharaoh was so delighted with Hadad that he gave him one of his wife's sisters for marriage, a sister of Queen Tahpenes. The sister of Tahpenes bore Hadad a son, Genubath. Tahpenes weaned him in Pharaoh's house, so it was that Genubath was raised in Pharaoh's house among Pharaoh's children. While in Egypt, Hadad heard that David had lain down with his ancestors and that Joab the general was also dead. Hadad said to Pharaoh, "Let me go to my homeland." Pharaoh said to him, "What do you lack here with me that would make you want to go back to your homeland?" Hadad said, "Nothing, but please let me go." God raised up another opponent for Solomon, Rezon, Eliada's son, who had escaped from Zobah's king Hadadezer. Rezon recruited men and became leader of a band when David was killing them. They went to Damascus and stayed there and ruled it. Throughout Solomon's lifetime, Rezon was Israelites' opponent and added to the problems caused by Hadad. Rezon hated Israel while he ruled as king of Haran. Now Nabat's son, Jeroboam, was an Ephraimite from Zeredah. His mother's name was Zeruiah. She was a widow, although he was one of Solomon's own officials. Jeroboam fought against the king. This is the story of why Jeroboam fought against the king. Solomon had built a structure and repaired the broken wall in his father David's city. Now Jeroboam was a strong and honorable man. Solomon saw how well this youth did his work, so he had appointed him over all the work gang of Joseph's house. At that time, when Jeroboam left Jerusalem, Ahijah the prophet of Shiloh met him along the way. Ahijah was wearing a new garment. The two of them were alone in the country. Ahijah tore his new garment into 12 pieces. He said to Jeroboam, "Take 10 pieces, because Israel God, the Lord has said, Look, I'm about to tear the kingdom from Solomon's hand. I'll give you 10 tribes, but I'll leave him 1 tribe on account of my servant David and on account of Jerusalem, the city I've chosen from all the tribes of Israel. I'm doing this because they have abandoned me and worshipped the Sidonian goddess Astarte, the Moabite god Chemosh, and the Ammonite god Milcom. They haven't walked in my ways by doing what is right in my eyes, keeping my laws and judgments, as Solomon's father David did. But I won't take the whole kingdom from his hand. I will keep him as ruler throughout his lifetime on account of my servant David, who would keep my commands and my laws. I'll take the kingdom from the hand of Solomon's son, and I'll give you 10 tribes. I'll give his son a single tribe, so that my servant David will always have a land before me in Jerusalem, the city that I chose for myself to place my name. But I'll accept you, and you'll rule over all that you could desire. You'll be king of Israel. If you listen to all that I command and walk in my ways, if you do what is right in my eyes, keeping my laws and my commands, just as my servant David did, then I'll be with you, and I'll build you a lasting dynasty just as I did for David. I will give you Israel. I will humble David's descendants by means all of this, though not forever." Then Solomon tried to kill Jeroboam, but Jeroboam fled to Egypt and its king Shishak. Jeroboam remained in Egypt until Solomon died. The rest of Solomon's deeds, including all that he did and all his wisdom, aren't they written in the official records of Solomon? The amount of time Solomon ruled over Israel and Jerusalem was 40 years. And then Solomon lay down with his ancestors and was buried in his father David's city, and Rehoboam his son succeeded him as king.